Hey there,
Mm.
everybody. Oh, everybody's coming in. Awesome. We've got Bob Asquari, Peggy, Joanne, Lori, Lorraine, Shanda, Annette, Stephanie. We got a full house here today. Super excited for you guys all to be here. And welcome to today's webinar, Beyond Resolutions, Keeping Clients Engaged All Year. I am your host, Sarah Cooperman.
No,
How are
great.
you
I
guys?
love it. Yes, very good.
Actually, I'm your host, Brandy Clark. Today, I am taking over for Sarah. Okay, we kicked her out. We said no more. We're taking over. It's like on Instagram when they take over somebody's Instagram account for the day and then they get to shoot all the stuff. That's what we're doing inside this webinar today, you guys, and we're gonna have a whole lot of fun as we dive into today's topic. That is actually what I said a second ago, beyond resolutions, keeping clients engaged all year, because we know we're 6 weeks into the year. So we may be feeling some of that drop off. We may be feeling it's been a while since some people have checked in. But before we dive into that, let's go through, and I'm going to have each of our co-hosts and our presenters introduce themselves to you so you guys can feel the magic and feel the love and see how much you have in store. Let's start with Rustin. Rustin, will you introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure, yeah. My name is Rustin. I'm the owner of the Mobility Recipe. The website's themobilityrecipe.com, so pretty simple. And then let's see, I've been in the fitness industry for 24 years. So I started back in 2000 and I owned a gym for over a decade. And I don't know, education, everyone throws these things out, but I have a master's in kinesiology, human movement, and that's kind of where the mobility recipe stemmed from, was just the injury problems and all the different things that gym owners and fit pros face. And so my program is I have multiple programs and a certification that's accredited through NASM and AFAA and CanFit Pro, probably soon to be SCW. But yeah, so that certification is a mobility certification, and then all the other programs are surrounding that with, knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, things like that. So actually, I see a few people that are in my mobility recipe programs on this call, so it's really cool to see. But yeah,
Awesome. So shout out to everybody who's in the mobility recipe.
let's see. I see Brett. Brett, I don't know if he can hear me, but he's on here. Then I swear I saw another name. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see you guys on here.
And if you want to learn a little bit more about Rustin's mobility recipe, the link did just get dropped right there in the chat. You guys can click that and go over and take a look at it, but not until we're done. So y'all have to wait for 45 minutes until we're all done. All right, Miss Irene McCormick, you're next. Tell us a little bit about you.
Hello. I'm so sorry. I'm putting in my most recent in the chat, I'm very excited to share that I've been working with Bob Asquari. He's actually on this call too. He's just an amazing mentor. And together with Bob and some other incredible people, I've been able to launch. I just launched literally a week ago my 4-hour coaching program called the Menopause Mentor. I'm not even kidding you. We have such a need, and I know that you know this. Everybody knows this in fitness. This is an invisible group of women who have very, very different needs because they're compromised in their estrogen levels. And we are learning more and more about what that does and how it affects women and how we can treat it. And so I teach fitness professionals how to work with this population. And not only that, it's not okay, here's what you do, one and done, see you, bye. I have a program, because what Rustin was just talking about, and probably Rustin, I don't know, but I'm just going to assume your program's pretty successful.
It has been, yes.
It's a program. People can glom on to a program. And I know this is going to sound so inappropriate because I literally know Sarah, and I think she would understand. Personal trainers cannot be streetwalkers anymore. We cannot sell ourselves anymore. We have to sell programs. And this lends itself so much to the topics that we're going to be discussing tonight, because programs give people a different mindset about their experience. They value programs over just a random, I guess I'll just show up and hope things happen. And it doesn't work like that. Plus, the medical community is not going to take us seriously if we don't start focusing on programs. So I'm very excited to train fitness professionals. And literally, I'm not bragging. I'm literally shouting out to everybody because I'm so excited. And I know Fit Pros will be too. I have 4 host sites. Today's Friday. I just posted this Sunday.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
I'm so excited. But the point is that people are like, oh my God, we need this. Please come. We need this. And I'm so glad. And I really hope that it, kind of motivates other individuals to kind of offer programming, because the trainers have to offer, they have to be educated before they come. I can't explain glycolytic depletion to them in that training. It's 4 hours,
So
but I
this
have
is
to tell them why they need to get in there. Huh?
This is a certification.
It's a 4-hour certificate. It's like, you've got but if they're going to need continuing, so they can work with me in that, and I have like a program they can follow. But there's they walk away with the program. But anyway, I have done many things. This is the last thing I'll say. I have been a TRX senior master trainer for, I don't know, 17 years. And we had all this pandemic and things changed so much. And I am so excited. I'm not doing my very first course back since the pandemic, but I am doing one I haven't done in a really long time tomorrow at the University of Minnesota. And I'm so excited about that.
That's awesome.
Live education.
If you guys want to learn more about the Menopause Mentor Program, she did drop her email in the chat, so you guys can they can reach out to you, right?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm your host today, you guys. I'm Brandy Clark, and I'm a fitness business mentor. I'm a marketing coach, a business mentor for fitness professionals. I've had multiple gyms and sold them all in 2018 and built an online business helping brides lose weight for their wedding. And now I help fitness professionals create businesses, create programs like what Irene was talking about, create courses, create anything that they can sell from a hybrid of in-person and online or online only. So that's what I do. So you guys are ready? You guys ready? You've got a full house tonight of educators here to talk to you about how to make sure you can keep all of your clients in-house and going all year long, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with Rustin. I'm going to ask Rustin our first question, then we'll go over to Irene. Rustin, in your opinion, what are the biggest challenges personal trainers face when it comes to retention after the New Year's rush?
Yeah, so this might be a little different for most people, but we all kind of see that waning motivation with our clients, right? They're unmotivated at this point because it might be an unrealistic expectation. They're seeing a plateau or things like that. But one of the things that I kind of want to address and I think is extremely valuable with my own clientele, I actually you'll see on my handle that I have the Muscular Gentleman. It's an online program. I just work with men on a high level coaching. But one of the things I address with them is instead of worrying about motivation and instead of worrying about even discipline, is I take it a step further and I focus on giving them a compass. And that compass is their purpose. So actually take it, and this is something I'll offer everybody on the call or listening. If you want to email me that you want this sheet, I have a whole program that I take them through, but I'll give you this sheet on how they can like go through questions and really understand their deep purpose. But instead of trying to kind of fight their way through with discipline, which is, I believe, a muscle, right? It's something that you have to develop over time and you don't have right away, especially when somebody comes to you as a client that wants to lose weight. They don't have discipline set up right away. That takes time. And then motivation is very fleeting, right? And so when we start to dig into their purpose, why are they here? Why are you on this earth? What do you want? What do you want to be? What's the best version of yourself? And we dig into these things, we start to see almost like like I said, a compass, a North Star, so to speak, right? Somewhere to go and start going. And all their decision making starts to fall back on this purpose because it gets easier. Like, well, if that's not going to get me to where I need to go. And it's a little bit further than that shot of like, what's my goal to lose weight? What's my goal for this or that, which are more short term. And this is more of a long game, right? But yeah, I would say the challenges they're going to face are going to be motivation for sure. You see that happen year after year. And I think, I had a client, perfect example. I had a client that lost 5 to 15 pounds every time they worked with a trainer. I happened to be their sixth trainer that they worked with. And this is going to sound unrealistic, but it's true. And you can see the photos in my Facebook group. But I took him through my purpose program. We dug in for about 3 days. He figured out his purpose. We dug in, and then he lost. And this is a guy that needed to lose well over 100 pounds. He lost over 67 pounds in 93 days. And the only reason I say 93 is because that's when we did his check-in. But it changed his entire perspective on how he was approaching his goals, because the purpose serves something so much deeper. And so if you want to email me at rustinweb@gmail, that's just my personal email. I'll send you that worksheet, and I can put that in the handle. But yeah, if somebody wants that worksheet, it's very powerful, and I think really effective for getting beyond the January kind of hangover.
Right. And helping people realize that it's really just more than just this, 12 weeks or whatever it is that they're going to come in and try to lose some weight or start a new goal, and they've got no habits to support that new goal or any
Mhm.
mind shift changes to support that new goal behind them. Right. So I love the idea and the concept of the compass. And I bet you can expand upon that later, or even if anybody
Sure.
wants that. In fact, somebody's asking for your email in the chat. So
Okay,
the
I'll
chat.
make sure.
I mean, they're gonna be blowing you up. I'm like, tell us about the compass, Rustin. Tell
Yeah,
us
you got
about
it.
the compass. Irene, what do you think? What do you feel like? Let me repeat the question here. So the question is, what's one of the biggest challenges personal trainers, well, really in fitness industry experts, group fitness instructors, and gym owners, what is the biggest challenge they face right now with the whole retention and New Year's Eve, New Year's rush?
Well, I mean, I live it right now. I work full time. I'm a personal trainer and a Pilates lead at Lifetime, and I'm in the gym every day. So I see it firsthand. I've like serious boots on the ground. But here's the real question that's really truly the question there. Why is the trainer experiencing attrition or a lack of an ability to retain? That's the question. So that's what we need to look at, like what is happening, because we know that clients lose their motivation if they don't see the results that they think they should be seeing right away. And that is overcome, in my opinion, with programming and program design. And sometimes, Brandy, I say things that I think. I think one of the biggest issues with our consumers is they think they can program design. That's exactly the problem with our consumer population. They look at trainers like we are just riffraff, just trying to sell stuff and, just trying to make money, just hustling everybody. That is not what we do. Really good people like me, we service people. It's a servant role. And so if you're not taking that role, you're going to see attrition. And I'm telling you right now, I made this comment actually to somebody else. And one thing that I would say about any personal training staff you're ever on, or any training group that you see, if you don't see people walking around smiling, I do not understand. Thank you, Jesse. I do not understand how trainers think they're going to get clients when they walk around with their arms folded and they're there for them. Come on, guys. Some of you youngers, come on. I know you're out there. I don't mean to be all like mama shaming you right now or anything, but it's a profession and it's professional courtesy, and you have to do that's what retains your clients. It's the culture you set up, it's your dedication. Thank you. Yes, your body language is huge. Like I lean into my people, but I don't do it like as a ploy or a skit. I mean, that's how I feel. It's authentic, totally. And if you don't feel like that and you're servicing people, you shouldn't be doing it.
Right. Well, let me ask you
They won't leave
question,
you.
Irene. Let me ask you a
I'm sorry,
follow-up.
love. Mm-hmm.
What do you think a trainer or a gym owner or somebody who is in that role, what do you think that they can do to kind of cultivate a community, a supportive community? What do they need to do in order to create that community that will help with
Yes.
retention?
And it is, you know what? I'm going to tell you this about trainers too. They're smart. Trainers are generally very smart people. And if there's a culture of community, understanding, inclusion, and it comes from the top down, that means director, regional manager, PT director, manager, whatever the title is, you create that culture. That's leadership. I mean, leadership is a skill set. So often, and I know that the people on this call know this, and I'm sorry, Rustin, I don't mean to be dominating, but so many people in fitness get promoted into roles of leadership and management because they're really amazing profit center earners, or they're incredible at this particular, technique. It has nothing to do with managing people. That is a completely different emotional skill set. And it needs to be acquired before you want to really try to lead a team, because you won't have you will have attrition if you don't have a team that's connected. So it's all just like our body, it's all connected.
Mm-hmm. So it really starts with
Starts at the top.
Yeah, it starts with the leadership, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Absolutely.
the community that they cultivate. It's really just the atmosphere that they set. Are they open? Are they happy? Are they supportive? Are they willing
Yeah.
to walk around and help people and give to the community? Or are they really like, well, they haven't paid me, so I'm not helping them? Or are they all about the bottom line? Which honestly, I mean, fitness is a business and you have to make money.
Yes.
Everybody has to make money. The gym owner has to make money. The personal trainers have to make money. Everybody needs to make money, but it's a lot easier to make money when you have really strong communities who feel pulled together for the common good or for the greater good of one purpose, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
community out there that does this better than anybody else, and that's CrossFit. I'm telling you. And I owned a CrossFit. I did, and I'm telling you, and they
True.
do it
It's true.
better than anything I've ever seen. And it starts at corporate and it goes to every box and then every member, and they drink the Kool-Aid. They really do. And they drink beers together and they go to movies together and they have events together, and they are a community and you can't pull them apart. And so I've seen such, I've learned so much from CrossFit in that capacity about community building and leadership, but it really does start at the top and it trickles down. And if you don't, you don't either play or you leave. You either understand, you buy in, or you're bought out.
Yeah,
Right. What
that's
about
right.
technology? Let's talk about technology for a second. What kind of technology do you guys feel like we can leverage to help our clients with engagement and retention and adherence and motivation? Rustin, I'm going to bounce back to you on that.
Yeah, I mean, well, gosh, now with AI and ChatGPT and all
Mm.
these things, right? It's going to be exploding in so many different ways, and I think you're going to be hurting yourself if you're not jumping on board to these things at some level. But our ability, and that's the thing. And again, this is a totally shameless plug, but my programs that I offer, like my knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain stuff, is all on an app, right? Like you can put this on an app so that they're doing it from their phone, on vacation, at home, whatever. That's where we have to shift to, is getting our clients to be able to work with us in person, but also on their own without us, and be
Mhm.
able to have that kind of switch back and forth. So yeah, I mean, I think technology is massive. I think one of the things that I try to do, I read a book about 6 years ago or so. It's called Profit First, and great book, by the way. But he talked about, he's like, I was willing to even go to like a vacuum, conference to look outside of my industry and see what other things are happening around me. And I think that's where technology is important for us to understand how other industries are using it. If we look at the industry itself, like the fitness industry is a $33 billion industry. There are lots of money there. But if you look at a little bit further, look at the gaming industry. It's like a $230 billion industry. So gamifying our creating some kind of a gamification with our fitness businesses can be extremely rewarding to our clients. This is a non-technology example, but people give milestone t-shirts. You've made it to 100 sessions. Here's a t-shirt. Here's a t-shirt for 300, things like that. And those have been going on for a while, but how do we integrate technology into this, is I think something that we have to understand or pivot is. Oh, Penny, thank you. She's just said my programs are fantastic. Thank you. But yeah, it's it's something we have to address. And I don't think there's an answer necessarily defining everybody because all of our businesses are so different. But how do you look at an industry like the gaming industry that's $230 billion and bring that in? I looked at the paint industry. The paint industry is $360 billion. And I said, how do I stay within my scope of practice, but bring that into the fitness world appropriately? Because I want a piece of that pie, not just for the money, but to actually be effective as a fit pro and leave an impact with my clients that was long term, preventing them from getting injured, moving them into a space where they can be in fitness for the rest of their lives. That was important to me. And I had to look at that industry and outside of the fitness industry. So look at what other companies are doing with technology and see how you can adapt it. I don't have a perfect answer for this because you guys are all so unique, what you're offering, but I think it's important that we do address it.
Let me jump in here for a second. So there were some comments that you guys could not hear me. Can you hear me better now with this microphone?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So there were just some comments in the chat saying they couldn't hear me. May, if you're still there, let me know if this helps at all. Okay. I do have my cute microphone right here for the podcast, and it's soon to be bedazzled. So tune in later and you'll see a whole bunch of bedazzling on this microphone.
Cute.
But Rustin, you made a good point, and one that kind of reminded me of something that I recently read in a book by Pat Flynn called Superfans. And he talks about the gaming industry and the thing they do to really kind of suck people in really quickly. And that is give people a quick win fast. Give people a quick win very, very quickly. And I teach this also inside of my programs when it comes to like lead magnets. You want to make sure you get people something very quickly that makes them feel successful, that makes them feel like they've accomplished, they're on track, and that it's possible. And if you can do that really quickly, whether it's technology or not, if you can do that, then you're one step ahead, right? So if we bring in just even simple technology like our watches, right? Setting step counts for people that are doable step counts, right? You're never going to take somebody who's sedentary and have them try to hit 10,000 steps in a day. But, we can shoot for 3,000. And when they hit that so many times, they're successful and they've won and they're feeling good and they're feeling like it's easy to do. And then we bump it to 4 and they know it's easy. It's just a 25% increase. So giving people a quick win, getting them pulled in, getting them vested in it, and making sure that the steps and the goals and the processes and the compass, not the campus, but the compass outlines doable goals that are very achievable so that they feel successful, because nothing will make somebody fall off a program or quit or give up like feeling like they've fallen behind, they have not been able to keep up with other people, or they aren't meeting the goals or the requirements. They'll just give up. And that's why people trainer jump. That's why people gym jump. That's why people jump from program to program, is because it didn't work over here. It's never their fault. It's never the person's fault. It's always the trainer's fault or the gym's fault or whatever it is. It didn't work over here for whatever reason. So they're going to come over here and start fresh, right? It's like our clients, when they say they're going to start fresh on Monday, I'm going to start over on Monday. They're going to start fresh with a new client, a new trainer, hoping to be successful and keep up, right? So those are my 2 tidbits on that. Irene, what do you have to say on the matter?
Well, first of all, I have to redeem my place of employment because I love my job. It's a great fit for me. And I've had a wonderful experience. I do have good leadership. So I just want to make sure you guys know. I wasn't trying to say anything negative because,
I didn't feel like you were. That wasn't my takeaway.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I really do. But, I do. And again, here I come, Irene. Mwah, mwah. There's a downside to sometimes the technology. And I'll share one with you that since I work with so many women of an age group that they're gaining weight and they can't really control it. And, people are going on Ozempic because they don't know how to control their insulin. For a lot of reasons or whatever, and that's a totally different webinar, of course, but the downside of a lot of the fitness like apps or things that are really easy and accessible to consumers is the calorie counting. It's like getting on the scale. It's just total, those are sabotage activities and behaviors. So if you can see probably more success by just, changing a cue and not focusing like Rustin was talking about. Oh, Rustin, you said so many good things. I've been writing notes the whole time you've been writing, talking. So I can't remember right now, but it's so important for them to understand it's not about those macros or whatever people call it to be cool, or macros. I'm counting my macro. Do you even know what they are? And I don't think people know. I mean, there are two fatty acids that are essential. You have 48 hours to get them into your body. Oh, it's fat. I can't eat that. But they'll shove those fries into their mouth, right? With all the trans fats. That's the only one you're not supposed to get. But I try to help them understand, because that's the calories they're counting. And that's why they're counting, so they can eat all that sugar and crap and justify it with this calorie counting. I'm not trying to shame. I really am not. I just want to see a shift in the education. That was a point that Rustin had made. Maybe you did. I can't remember. But the more educated people are, the easier it is for them to make changes. So changing the cue, they're still going to want to know like what they're eating and how much. But instead of talking about calories, let's look at one, is this food going to give you energy? Two, is this going to, based on your body composition goals, enhance or detract from that goal? And if you can't answer those questions with, positivity, it's probably not the food choice you should, you know what I mean? Or the caloric amount. There's other things come into it too, but just it's energy. It's like, it's just, it's extra. If you eat too much, there's no place for insulin to take that, escort those carbohydrates. So they just keep going to those fat cells, which never run out of space. And when you're estrogen compromised, you absolutely will gain weight in areas you've never gained weight before. You're like, what is happening? But it can be overcome. It can definitely. So there's hope for people, because they quit because they're doing things like they were doing nothing. And all of a sudden they're going to the gym every morning at 6 a.m. That is a totally unsustainable and unrealistic goal just from Jump Street. So, sometimes I'm not trying to say you can't count calories or use devices that give you a caloric expenditure during your day. All calories are not invented equal. It would make sense, and I promise I'm going to wrap this, but it would make sense that if you ate a pound of food, and you exercised the amount of calories you needed to lose a pound of food, that you would just do that. But it doesn't work like that. It's the easy math that I hear a lot of consumers who have the best intentions ever. Most consumers are operating on 80s and 90s exercise science. Rustin, you're an exercise science professor just like me, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's some old school thought with that for sure.
Yeah.
Lactic acid stuck in the muscles and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And this can kind of lead us into our next question of what strategies can we use to address common challenges and setbacks that our clients might be facing during their fitness journey, like you just talked about, kind of just the education or maybe the lack of information or misinformation, or old thoughts that we used to have back in the 80s and the 90s or early 2000s, or just things that we just believed to the death to be true no matter what, because our mother told us when she was doing Jane Fonda in the living room, right? Those kind of things. It's like it's hard to break those. So let me ask you guys this question. What can we do? What can we do? What strategies can we implement to address some of these common challenges? And if I was to speak to that while you guys are kind of thinking about that question, I would say probably it comes down to really the mindset change and the questioning, and helping the client understand why they're making the choices that they're making, even though they told themselves that morning they weren't going to, right? They'll wake up that morning and they'll say, I'm not going to eat the chips today. And then 2:30 rolls around. They've got a big project. They're hungry. They're hot. They need to get up and walk around. They find themselves going to the vending machine or eating, those kind of things, right? So I would say it's really, I think the most profound thing that I've seen coming into the fitness industry, in addition to all the tech that there is out there, would really be the component of like life coaching, or just the mindset coaching, just understanding the thoughts and understanding the the way we think that makes us do the things that we do, so that we can start to question the thoughts we have that create the outcomes that we're producing, right? Because if we're not losing weight, it's going to come back to an action that we did or we didn't do. And that action that we did or we didn't do is going to come back to a thought we had or we did not have. So
Yeah.
it's always the thought that produces the action that produces the result, right? So I feel like that's a huge part. And if you guys need to, I know SCW has a life coaching certification. If you're unfamiliar with kind of the mindset, behavior change, and emotional intelligence and that kind of stuff, I think that you need to really get on that, learn a lot more about that this year, and implement that into your coaching, into your businesses, into your trainings, everywhere, because it's going to be the real change. It's going to be the real change. It's the reason people lose weight and don't gain it back. It's because they've changed the thoughts that have led to the behavior. It's also the reason people will lose weight and gain it back, because they didn't change the thoughts that led to the behavior. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. Rustin, I'll
No,
bounce to you.
I like that, Brandy. I actually want to speak to that because that's kind of where I start with all my clients on their purpose, right? Is because that's the mindset we're going to shift for them is why are you here and what do you want out of life? When you can start to answer that, and there's 4 elements I kind of discuss with all my clients, and here's some life coaching ideas for you that you guys can take if you want. But we talk about purpose. So there's 2 options. There's pleasure or there's purpose, right? When I sit down, I watch TV, I'm going after pleasure. If I start working out or I start working on something to better myself, I'm working on purpose. And so I kind of dig this into my clients, into their mindset of understanding like you're kind of making 2 decisions, or, you're making a decision one way or the other, and you need to try to make that ratio of going after your purpose much greater than going after pleasure, right? So we have these clients that if I eat this burger, it's gonna be so good. And that's great. Look, we need moderation, but at what level are you totally out of ratio between pleasure and purpose? And then there's fulfillment and happiness. And so we kind of dig into the idea that we want to chase fulfillment. A steak and a margarita is going to make me happy for the next 15 minutes. And so instead of having my clients chase happiness, I want them chasing fulfillment, and I want them chasing purpose. And so that's kind of the mindset shift that I work on right away. And I, again, take it for what it's worth, but I do recommend that approach because you start to dig in a little bit and see where, like you said, their thoughts are going to, they're not going to wake up motivated every day, and they're not going to be able to rely on discipline. Those things, and they're not going to always be inspired by somebody else's story. Those are all good tools within their tool bag as a client that we can use with them, but most of those are fleeting and they're momentary. But we have to dig a little deeper and go a step further for them to really be able to push through some of these plateaus they might run into.
Mm-hmm. What did you say? You said purpose and pleasure.
Yeah.
And because I really loved what you said. Then you said
Yeah.
another one. Was it joy? Did you have joy?
Happiness,
Yeah.
happiness or fulfillment.
Is
Right.
that what it was? Now,
I
isn't
took
it,
notes too.
yeah, isn't
This
it
is
So good.
crazy when you get
So
to this
good.
point that your purpose becomes pleasurable?
well, and
That
Like the
is
that
gym,
is very true,
right?
and that's absolutely true. It's a different, and I think that's more the fulfillment side, right? Because yes, we're gonna have all these feelings, and this is maybe semantics. This is my view of what these words mean, but yeah, when you start to really, you're like on that path towards your purpose, you feel fulfilled, and yeah, you're happy, but happiness can go away too. And so, yeah, it's a feeling that once they catch that, you can start to see their understanding of fitness is no longer a job. They're falling in love with the process. And now it's easier, right? It becomes easier when they get into that space.
Yeah. And then they're changing who they are. Like they're actually becoming the person they need to be to maintain the result, right? And that's what people mean when they say the term, or you hear the phrase act as if. Act
Mm.
as if. Be the person who's lost 50 pounds. If you want to weigh 150 pounds, if you're a female and you want to weigh 150 pounds, what does a 150-pound female do? She doesn't go to Wendy's for lunch. She doesn't sleep in. What does she do? Start doing those things, and then you will become that person. So that's exactly how you become that person, is with identifying those things. I love that. Thank you so much. Irene, do you have something to add?
Oh my God, I'm blown away by both of you right now. Those are gems. I just love them because I can actually apply both of those things right now with clients tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things also we were talking about programming earlier is that programming has to be more than just biceps curls. It has to address stress. It has to address sleep. You need to be talking about the type of food that they're eating. And I find the easiest thing to do is start with their pre and post workout feedings, is really what they're referred to. But that's when insulin is the most sensitive. And I can teach them how to, oh, Jesse, the power of visualization, right, lends itself to Brandy's comments. Brandy, oh my God, brilliant. Both of you. Oh, I could do workshops just based on what you guys say. It's crazy. Just
Well,
learning more.
yeah, and you can also, you can also apply all of that into like your SMART goals. I mean, we've all heard the term SMART goals. I mean, that's fitness professional talk 101, right? How to make
Totally.
a SMART goal. You can't be in this industry more than 5 minutes without hearing about it, right? And let me ask you this question. Do you guys set official SMART goals, or how do you approach goal setting? How do you approach blah, blah, blah. How do you approach goal setting, Rustin, with your clients and in your business?
Yeah. So I hate repeating this. We start with their purpose and then we reverse engineer that to where they are. And so then we start to understand, like, let's create a SMART goal that's leading you toward that, with your compass of where you want to go. Where's your north? And let's go that way. And so we create those SMART goals in that sense so that, yeah, we can make it specific and measurable and all these things, but it's got to align with them and who they want to be, right? The best version of themselves.
Mhm.
And that's where kind of we start. To me, they feel like it's a goal that's greater than just like losing 20 pounds or gaining, several pounds of muscle. It becomes bigger than that for them. And so I think it's at least with my clients, I've noticed a very big impact that way.
Mhm. Irene?
I was just looking at Bob's message. He said, customer centric focus. Totally. We're there for them. I mean, I am not there for me. I am there to bring expertise to them, and that will really help people. I think the more educated they are about what they're doing, the more inclined they are to stick with it. But I just took while Rustin was talking, your statement, Brandy, about act as if you lost 50 pounds, and I plugged that into a SMART goal.
Mhm.
So the S, of course, specific, well, it's 50 pounds. And then is it measurable? Yeah, it's 50 pounds. Is it achievable? Yes, it is. And then you can educate based on talking about how long it will take. And, in my case, I would, talk about how much weight. I always give people more reasonable numbers. Like they need to lose 45. I just say 20. And then they're like, really? Yeah. Let's start with that. I don't tell them that, but they just all of a sudden the goal isn't so insurmountable also.
Mhm.
So it kind of helps to make it more reasonable, but I still love that. I'm so going to use that every day. Act as if you lost 50 pounds. Can't
Yeah.
wait. And then time, that's when you can discuss, I just think it's a really great statement to teach the SMART goals. I don't know one woman who wouldn't get that.
Right.
And goal setting is critical. I tell clients, and I didn't mean to criticize the people who go to the gym who think they know how to program for themselves, but that is also a big reason why people they don't finish, or they don't, they drop out. The retention is not there because they get bored, they get hurt, because they have no idea what they're doing. And it's not because they're dumb, it's just that there is not great information out there that's consistent and highly accessible at the level that you and I and Rustin are teaching and training at. They
Mhm.
just don't. I mean, they think they don't understand their body is not going to continue to do what it does when it's 20. they can't wrap their mind around that sometimes. So there's a lot of ego in that too. But I tell them, you cannot come into the gym unless you have got a list, at least something. Write it down, do it into your computer, talk into your phone, however, of what you're going to do today. You cannot just randomly show up and go, gee, I wonder what I'm going to do. That is a total setup for failure. You will quit and you won't achieve anything.
Right. That's
The easiest goal.
Yeah, that's programming. That's definitely good. One thing that I would teach a lot to my clients a lot that I found very, very helpful was also the making of a plan. It doesn't have to be this big thing. It can really just be like, I'm going to spinning tomorrow at noon. And then, like Rustin said, you reverse engineer that action. Okay, so if I'm going to go spinning tomorrow at noon, that means I best have my clothes in my car, right?
Yeah.
And that means I better make sure that I've got nothing on my schedule and nobody goes and books a meeting for me at noon, right? So that I can go to spinning class at noon. Or another example would be like your busy moms. Irene, it sounds like you work with women who are in like their 40s and their 50s. They probably have kids. Maybe they're running them around a little bit.
They're all empty nesters.
Okay,
All
well,
of
they don't
them.
got this problem then, but a lot of the other
Nope.
people's clients
Yeah.
will, and that's maybe they want to go to class. They want to go to class. Or they want to go work out after
Right.
work. If, you know, want to hit the 5:30 class, or they want to help, but then they got to make sure the little Johnny's picked up from soccer. So I would always have my clients sit down and be like, "What's happening tomorrow, and what can I do to make sure this is going to actually happen?" Okay, I need to make sure little Johnny's picked up from soccer so that I don't have to worry about it. I can go work out. And if I want to eat healthy tomorrow, I better make sure the chicken's out tonight because I am not going to want to defrost it when I get home tomorrow and I'm going to end up ordering a pizza, right? So knowing what your triggers are and knowing where your weaknesses are and reverse engineering that into actionable steps, right? It's really actionable steps. Like if I come home from work and I'm tired and now I've got to defrost hamburger, are you kidding me? Have you ever tried defrosting hamburger? It sucks. It doesn't work, right? Nobody wants to do it. We all just end up ordering out. But if you can get it out the night before and it's defrosted, making a homemade meal is not that hard, chicken or whatever it is. It becomes a lot easier. So it's just reverse engineering the steps that need to happen and the steps that need to take place in order to achieve the small goal, right? And I once had a lady that was just in tears and she came to me and she said she needed to lose 60 pounds. And she said, how do you lose 60 pounds? I'm like, how do you lose 60 pounds? She's just crying. And I'm like, you don't. You lose 1 pound 60 times. And that's all we're going to focus on this week. We're just going to get 1 pound off this week. That's it. Right. And we're going to reverse engineer that, which means we're going to sit down and think, what are you going to do tomorrow? And what needs to happen in order for you to give yourself a 10 at the end of the day, or, you know, at least an A or a B plus at the end of the day. Right. And we have to just really learn how to make these really, really hard and really, really confusing and overwhelming actions and steps for our clients. They feel that like they're big and overwhelming and hard, and we have to learn as fitness professionals, gym owners, whatever it is that you are, whatever capacity you serve in the fitness industry and health industry, you have to learn how to make them small and achievable. You have to learn how to make them doable. Because if you can't make it doable, if somebody's coming to you saying, I got to lose 60 pounds, and we're like, all right, we're working for 60 pounds, that's big. It's big. You can't, it's too big. It's too big. We shrink everything down into just today. What can you do today to make today one day better? And I think that everybody on this webinar tonight is definitely committed to the development of your skill, the development of the industry, and the betterment of your clients and the betterment of your members at your gym. And so I applaud you guys all for showing up tonight, because I know you probably had something else you could have been doing, whether it's reruns of Friends or whether it's a new episode that dropped tonight on NBC. I don't know what it is, but you probably all had something else that you could be doing tonight. But I applaud you all for showing up. And I would like to thank Irene. I would like to thank Rustin. And I would also like to thank our main man behind the scenes, who you guys don't know, Carter Anderson, who's keeping it all together for us. He's handling the chat, and he's the one that brought all of this together. You guys, did you know DC is happening in 1 week? Who's going to be in DC? Chat, drop me in the chat if you're going to be at Mania DC. I am. I know I'm going to be there. Irene, you're going to be there?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Rustin's going to be there though.
Yeah.
And this is his,
I
this
will
is
be
his
there.
inaugural. This is his first SCW event. So he's got some really awesome courses.
Have
Would you like to tell them, would you
Fun
like to tell them
stuff.
what you're going to be teaching at SCW this weekend?
Yeah, I'm going to be teaching next week. I'll be teaching my mobility program. mobility training online and in person. I'll be teaching about knee pain and shoulder pain, strategies, and how to work around those things to where we can help our clients really move out of spaces while working along with whether it's a medical professional or a chiropractor or whatever. But yeah, within your scope, how do we get into the pain industry effectively and not only make money but help our clients immensely? So yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. And at SCWDC next weekend, I'll be teaching a class that will help everybody figure out how to find and enroll clients using social media. And I will be on two panels, one of the panels being called Effective Group Fitness and Personal Training Sales Strategies. And the second one is called Growth, a must or bust. That's what it is. Okay, 30 seconds, guys. Irene, will you let everybody know how to connect with you? And then 30 seconds, and then Rustin, I'll give you 30 seconds because we are 2 minutes over our tight timeline.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for your time, everybody. And this has been so enjoyable. But you can reach me at the menopause mentor at gmail.com if you want to reach out to me. And I know a lot of you on the meeting right now. I went through the list. I saw your name. So if you know me directly or you're on my social, the menopause mentor is my Facebook page right now that I'm focusing on. So come reach out to me. Let me know if I can come and do the training with you or whatever we can do to help you learn more about that demographic.
Thank you. Rustin, how
Thank
can
you.
people connect with you?
Yeah, I threw my email in the chat. So rustinwebb@gmail.com. That's my personal email. So you can just reach out or go to my website, themobilityrecipe.com, and you can get a hold of me there too.
Perfect. Thank you. And my name's Brandy Clark. It's been my honor to hang out with you guys tonight. You can connect with me on Facebook at Brandy Bird Clark, on Instagram at The Messy Hair Millionaire, or our new podcast called Beyond the Sets and Reps. And our website is called standoutfitpro.com. Have a fabulous
Thank
night
you
tonight.
for leading this. You did fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Talk soon, guys. Bye.
Bye.